Welcome to day 3 of our annual event, Video-a-Day February, here on the Debsterism channel, where I have pledged to crank out some kind of video every day for the 28 days that constitute this month. This is day 3. What I want to talk about today is something that's been on my mind for a while, and that is the lack of critical thinking and odd decision making that a lot of people do. And I think it could be cleared up by asking yourself one simple question, which I'll go into in a minute. What I want to do first is give you a little background, because I'm not going to say I was born with this skill. This is something that my dad kind of ingrained in me, because what he used to do is after dinner every day when he was there, we would have a discussion. He would present an issue, and then he would ask my brothers and I our opinion on it. And most of the time it was something that we didn't really know too much about, but sometimes he would actually as we got older, there would be things that we actually had read in the newspaper or whatever, because how you have to bring things into school to talk about for current events. Remember that? Do they still do that? Well, we used to have to do that every week, and we would have to pour over newspapers and magazines and bring something in interesting to share with our class that was newsworthy. So as we got older and that became part of our curriculum, we actually did know what was going on, and we actually did have opinions about different things. But even if it wasn't something about society and culture, politics, that kind of thing, he would pose different situations, things, real life events, and ask us, well, what would you do? How would you handle that? And then he would analyze our thinking process. And basically what he was doing with his 4 kids was teaching us how to think, how to analyze situations, and how to arrive at the decisions that made sense. And we, of course, didn't know that's what he was doing. We just thought it was fun. It was time when we had to set aside to interact with our father that was different than, going fishing and all this other stuff that he used to do with us. It was more mental. And we actually got to sit around the dining room table and talk. So we really enjoyed it. And as I got older, I understood that this kind of thing was being done in university campuses and high schools, and they called it critical thinking. And they were teaching children in an academic environment how to think critically and do the very same things that my dad did with us when we were, like in kindergarten and first grade. That's when it started. So anyway, that's the backstory. So I don't want anybody to say, well, you know all this stuff now, and you just making fun of us. It's not like that. That's why I do these videos. I'm sharing with you. Those of you who did not have the advantages of the kind of parents that I had, I'm sharing with you the stuff that they taught me. That's why I have this channel. That's why I have survivingdating.com. If you haven't been over there yet, check it out. It's all, blog posts. But if you like to read, that's a spot for you to go to and check out years and years of articles that I've written, probably about 500 or 600 at this point. So what I want to do, though, is talk about this one thing that I think would eliminate 99.9% of the drama that women have in their lives, and men too. But my channel's mainly for women, so I'm gonna focus on that. And that is, before you do something, just don't go in there all willy-nilly, all caught up in your feelings, doing stuff because you feel like it's the right thing to do. You feel like doing it. You feel excited. You feel love. You feel whatever you feel. I want you to stop. And I want you to sit your butt down, and I want you to think for a minute. Just hold your horses. And I want you to ask yourself one question. Okay, so if I do X, then what? That's it. And then what? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. This is something that people who play chess and poker and, even dominoes, checkers, all those kinds of games, those strategy games where you're working against a partner, those people have this skill, but they don't always use it outside of the gaming environment, but they do have it. They know how to do it. So if you find somebody who's a really good chess player, a really good dominoes player, they already know how to do what I'm talking about, and then what? Because that involves advanced thought. Okay, if I move X, then they gonna move Z, and then I'm gonna have to deal with Y and S, and then if I move S, this will happen, and if I move Y, then that'll happen. So which one is the best option? That's what I want you to do. And then what? Keep that phrase in mind. Tattoo it on your forehead if you have to, so it'll be in the mirror every time you look there. Because what I want to do is go over some classic examples. Now, this video is going to be a two-part series because there's too much to do in one. So look for the second half of this tomorrow. But we're going to deal with 7 of the issues that I think come up a lot that people don't think about. They get caught up in their feelings. They get caught up in the moment. And they do some really, really, really dumb stuff. That if you just thought for a minute about what this move is going to do to your life and how it's going to screw things up and how, it's not going to work in your favor, or it's going to do something that's going to cause another, like a domino effect, as they call it, because you know how one domino knocks another one and they keep on knocking down? That's called the domino effect, for those who aren't familiar with that phrase. So you sometimes make a decision and it has a domino effect on the rest of your life. And I want you, especially if you're one of my young listeners, my college students, my high school students, my young ladies in their 20s just really getting started in your life, please, please, please pay strict attention to this message. Okay, so let's start with the very first one. Women will be involved with some dude, and the next thing you know, they're pregnant and having a child with some miscellaneous stray baby daddy fool. Okay, now let's think about that. You're involved with a man who does not, either you don't really know him well enough, because I'm just attracted how many couples end up having babies and they've only been together, a couple of months, or you want a baby because you think that it's going to solidify your relationship, or you let yourself be coerced into having a baby because he says he wants one and he wants to be a family and all this little stuff. And you, doing what we talked about in the last video, treating a boyfriend like a husband, decide that this might be a good idea. That you want to do this because it feels right. You love him. And I want you to stop before you do that, before you even take one step in that direction. And I want you to ask yourself, and then what? Okay, so you think about, like I said, you think about all the possible moves that your opponent could make. And then you figure out which one of those moves is going to present you the best opportunity for you to win. Okay, keep that in mind. That is the strategy game. You're trying to win. You're trying to come out on top. You're trying to counter their moves with the best move that you have available to you. Okay, so he want a baby, or somebody. Anyway, there's this kid involved. However, got here, and you think that having this is a good idea. So then you ask yourself, and then what? Okay, so then I have a baby, and then I have to pay daycare. How much is daycare? You look and you find out how daycare $1,200 a month. And then you're like, ooh, that's a lot. And then I have to get a bigger place because I only have a 1-bedroom. This will be all right for now. But then I have to get a 2-bedroom. Ooh, that's another $600 a month. Then I have 2 mouths to feed. I wonder if he's going to pay any child support. Chances are he's not, because that seems to be the way that the things go these days. They want a baby, but they don't want to pay any money for it. And get resentful if you put them on child support. So then you're like, well, if I don't put them on child support, then that means I have to do it all by myself. Can I afford the system? You see what I'm doing here? I'm walking through every stage of this decision. And, then I'll be a single mama, and, then I can't go nowhere. I can't do nothing. I have to think about if I'm dating somebody, is he going to be some kind of child molester freak or something? I mean, what's going to happen? Who's going to be my backup daycare when they have school holidays or the kid gets sick? I can't be missing all that work because I don't have that much vacation. Okay, you see what I mean? You think about all of these things before you decide that having this fool's baby is a good idea. Okay, see how that happened? And then what is the question that you ask yourself? So move on to number 2. You invest feelings in emotionally unavailable men. Those are men who are just coming out of a relationship. They're got some kind of mental or emotional problems. They was in prison, locked up, so now they want to go crazy, just dibbing and dabbing with every woman that they can get their hands on. They're just out of some marriage. The wife died or something, and they're still reeling from the grief. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why people are emotionally unavailable. Some of them are just so damaged that it doesn't matter that what the circumstances are. They'll never be able to give you the kind of love that you want. Okay, now you see signs of this. You always chase the person down. The person doesn't really respond. I mean, they, half respond to you. They never initiate taking you out. They just want to come over and chill at your house and eat up all your food, drink up all your beer, and then leave, bounce after getting busy and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that's somebody who's not investing anything in you. He has no feelings for you. And you see all the proof of that. So why do you not ask yourself, okay, if I invest feelings in this man who's obviously not really into me like that, then what? See? So what's going to happen? You're going to end up hurt, devastated, all brokenhearted, crying and stuff, snot flying everywhere, looking crazy, depressed, all in your bed, all like, you get this bitter attitude, men ain't shit, and this and that, blah, blah. Okay. Admittedly, some of them, they trick you. I admit that. But I'm talking about the situations where you go in, you see the red flags waving like a parade, that there's something wrong here. This guy is not really into you. He's not reciprocating. He doesn't give gifts. He doesn't hardly call you unless it's something about some butt. So, you see all the signs that this is not anything to invest yourself in emotionally, but you do it anyway. And then that's what I'm saying. You need to ask yourself, and then what? And walk through all the steps I just walked through to see yourself at the end of that broken rainbow, crying your eyes out and feeling hurt and used and, devastated that once again a relationship didn't work out when you had all the information that you needed to make a smarter decision to protect yourself at the beginning. See? And I ride with y'all, but I'm gonna get off the car, and at a certain point I'm gonna be like, what's his name in Boys in the Hood, who got out the car. So y'all go ahead on that ride by yourself. I'm out, deuces. So you see some stuff all screwed up and you want to keep riding in that direction anyway. I got to get out your car. I can't ride there with you. So let's go to number 3. You have intimacies without proper protection or for the wrong reasons. Now what that means is some of you will let yourself be pressured into doing something because you love him, and he starts talking about you have to show him how much you love him and do this for him, and if you really felt for him you would do this and this, and this is for my the little young girls. Okay, you fall prey to this a lot, especially in the hands of older men, and you don't demand that they use proper protection, or you don't demand that you use birth control or get, the after pill or whatever it's called, morning after pill. You don't take care of your body. You put your whole trust and everything in his hands and leave him responsible for your future. Why do you do that? Why do you not ask yourself, okay, he wants me to do this and that, and then what? Okay, so then let's see, what are the possibilities? Well, he might give me a disease. There's worse things besides being pregnant, because you can terminate that real quick and easy. But some of these things, you get these different STDs and whatnot, you have that mess for life. So, this is what I'm saying. You need to really think about this. Your whole future could be jacked up because you did not ask yourself at one critical moment, and then what? And then what? Okay, so now you have a disease, or now you have, you're pregnant. What you gonna do? Oh. So you have to think about these things, ladies, and then make decisions that place you in the winner box. Winner, not loser. Okay? Let's move on to number 4. Some of you will get married. You're going to get married, right? You get married to anybody, because you don't want to be single anymore. You think that there's shame in being single, that it's wrong, it's bad. You need, to have a husband so you could run around and tell everybody, my husband. That means something to you. But you have to think about, okay, you're getting married to someone just to be married instead of focusing on who you're marrying. What sense does that make? A marriage is supposed to be like your number one commitment and a partner for life. I mean, that's how most people go into it anyway. So you marry somebody, just anybody, somebody you know is beneath you, somebody you know doesn't meet your standards for a man or a husband. He does not have the husband qualities that you're looking for, and he's missing all kinds of things. Instead of looking at, oh, we're going to have a beautiful wedding, we're going to have this wonderful marriage, we're going to have this and that, and it'll be better after we get married, you need to sit there and think, okay, this is really, who is this man? And if I marry him, then what? Okay, well then what? He's a scallywag. He half works now. So that means you're gonna be supporting while he sits on his butt or drives around in your car, hanging out with his friends, drinking up all the money. There's other things you have to think about. Is that the lifestyle that you want? Does that really equate to love and happiness in your world? If it does, we need to have another conversation. But this is the kind of stuff, don't just look at, the wedding and I'm going to have a husband. Look at what that means long term. Who is this man? How is he benefiting your life? So if you ask yourself, looking at who he is right now, and then what, and you see a long string of things that are just going to be a big headache, why would you marry him? See, but that's what y'all don't do that. You don't want to think about the things that are going to be a headache because you want to focus on getting married. And I don't want you to do that, because then you get kids involved, then you get a divorce. It's just a big drama. It's just pointless when you could have just taken your time and engaged your brain and ask yourself this question. Write it down, the answers, if you need to, because some people, they need to be able to see they need to be able to see it. That's fine. Type it, write it in your journal, on a tablet, whatever you need to do. But this is a question that you must ask yourself about every decision that you're about to make that could bring you devastation. Okay? Let's look at the next one. This dude you involved with, he got baby mama drama going on. Now, what does that mean? And you experienced it. That means that you see a dude and suddenly some heifer is on your timeline or sending you a text or something talking about that's her man. And we got a kid together and he's still with me, he just using you, this and that. Or she shows up at your job, or she shows up at your house, or she does something to your car, or she says something foul to your child. There's some notice that you have that this dude brings straight drama. Any associate with him is going to be a headache. Okay, you see evidence of that. I'm not talking about the women who don't have the evidence yet. That's a different thing. But you have proof that he comes with baby mama drama. What happens? You don't ask yourself, okay, if I stay with him, then what? Because this heifer's already acting crazy and I just barely start kicking it with this dude. Okay, but you, instead of saying, okay, well, I need to focus on making sure my child is safe, making sure my property is safe, making sure that I'm not harassed and beat up or abducted or anything stupid by you jumped. And so because some of these women are crazy, they're not wrapped too tight. And you don't think about that though. You think about, well, she ain't gonna tell me, that's my man. I really love him and blah, blah, blah. And so you want to start, engaging with her, going back and forth and fighting and cussing and, having these online internet battles with her and all this old stuff, blocking each other and making prank calls and just going crazy. Why do you do that? That is just so, just like 5-year-oldish. And these, usually it's grown women doing this kind of stuff. And I just be looking at y'all because, like I said, see, you driving into that BS area of town, and I got to get out the car. I can't ride there with you. You going by yourself. So, but I think if more women calm down and say, okay, well, I'm dealing with this dude. Okay, if I keep dealing with him, then what? And walk yourself through that. Is that what you want? Is that your idea of a lovely relationship? Okay, let's move on to number 6. You give men you barely know too much personal information. What happens there? I did a survey some years ago. I think the article is up on survivingdating.com, as a matter of fact. And I was asking, some sisters, like, okay, so a guy asked you, how much money you make or what's in your bank account balance or, whatever. And he asked you this, what do you do? And I was shocked at how many women said they would tell him. I was like, what? What's wrong with you? You don't tell some fool you just met some mess like that. The only reason the dude needs to know what's in your bank account is if you married to him and it's like a joint account, then he will know, he had a right to know. But until then, you don't need to know. He don't need to know that about you, like you don't need to know it about his. He doesn't need access to, he don't need to know your PIN number, your passwords to your social media accounts. He doesn't need to know your mother's birth date or, nothing. He doesn't need to know any of those personal things, health information about your past. He doesn't need to know all that. That's inappropriate conversation. You got to think about it. Okay, well, I'm dating him now, and we close at this moment. But just say we have a fight, we break up, then what? You see what I mean? You just don't know what people are going to do with that information. Same thing with people, you giving not necessarily like information, but you letting these men take movies of you and doing it with them and naked pictures and all this stuff. No, don't do that. Don't do that, because you do it, you think it's fun and cute and it's all sexy and stuff, and then what? You break up. He is mad at you. The next thing you know, it's on some website. Or he posts the pictures with your phone number and your real address, and what kind of freaks start coming at your house. No. Don't do that. Do not do that. And just, like I said, just think about it. Okay, well, I'm doing this, but then what? Then what? And then the last one in today's video, there are those of you who call yourself dating a man who is married. That's like oxymoron. Those two words don't belong in the same sentence, girlfriend. You can't date somebody who's married to someone else. That's an impossibility. And I know people are like, well, they're getting a divorce. They just have to wait for it to be final. Good. Well, when it's final, then we can go out. Because right now you're married. And a lot of people, before they, divorce is final, they reconcile so that they can try one more time, especially if they have children. They may do that 2 or 3 times before they actually make the clean break, or they may actually decide to stay together. They get some counseling and stuff, and they decide that they do really still love each other. They just need to work it out. So in the meantime, though, here you are over there waiting for him to leave her, waiting for him to get the divorce to come final, waiting for something to happen, her to sign the papers. There's always some drag and drama to keep you on the hook. But this is just another way that he's actually emotionally unavailable. Even if you feel like he's, in love with you and all this stuff, he can't be really invested in you when he's legally tied to some other woman. You guys, come on now. You can't be this naive. And these dudes, until they make a move to really finalize things on that side. If he does that and then he wants to give it to you, then he's making a statement. He's making a clear choice, and he's ready to move forward. But those that are just dragging their feet, is some excuse all the time. He's not sure. He just, waiting for the right time. He's this, he's that. He always got all these stories. You need to sit there and ask yourself, okay, here is this man, he's married. I don't know what his real, story is. I do know that he's really married, though. So if I get involved with him and I invest emotions in him and I fall in love with him, then what? And like I said, always make decisions that are in your own best interest. Don't worry about what other people do. Don't worry about what other people say. What's going to be the best thing for you in case that blows up in your face? Okay, how do you protect yourself? So that's what I wanted to say. That's part 1. We will continue with part 2 tomorrow. And, if you have any questions, of course, put them in the comment section below. We can continue the discussion. Remember to share the videos with your friends. It's Video-a-Day February, so you're going to be hopping around here. People should subscribe so that they get an instant notification. If they press the little bell symbol, they will get instant notification to their phone the second I post up a new video. And then you guys can rush over here and see what other kind of smack I'm talking for that day. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com signing out. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.